Hello, welcome to 24th AdMind webinar. Let's wait for a few minutes until more people will join us and we'll be ready to start. Just 2 more minutes, please, and we'll be starting.
Okay, and how's your day? You can leave your comments in the chat to make the beginning of our webinar more alive, maybe.
Sure, good idea. Please let us know how was your day before we start, and we'll get going.
Yay. You can also share how hot is it in your place, because it is end of the summer, so probably it is hot in many places. Let's talk about the weather.
That's always a good start. Okay, I think we're ready to go. There's plenty of people already joining us. So once again, welcome to the AdMind webinar series. It's already the 24th meeting in the series that we're having. We started with the start of the pandemic, when we had to move our meetings from inside the office, inside of our Krakow headquarters, where we met different designers and different people with a perspective on design and branding, and we had to find a way to move those meetings online, and that's how the AdMind webinar series were born. It's already the 24th meeting, and we were discussing various aspects of branding and design with designers from AdMind and from other agencies as well. And today we will be talking about an area of design that's also important for AdMind and for branding, which is presentation design. And with me, I have Weronika Mitkova, who is the project manager in the presentation design team, and Maciej Kałuża, who works as a presentation designer in the same team that is now divided between two of our offices in Krakow and Odessa. The office from Odessa is obviously scattered around Europe at the moment, with many of the people from there living in Krakow, but I'll give my voice to Weronika so she can tell you a bit more and say hi to you, and also start the presentation to tell you what actually the presentation design is and what we mean by that in AdMind. If you have any questions, I'm seeing already first hands raised, so I will attend to those questions in a second when Weronika will be speaking. If you have any questions during the presentation, please use the Q&A section or the chat, and I'm sure Weronika and Maciej will be happy to answer all your questions either during the presentation or at the end of it. So that's it from my side, and Weronika, please take over.
Yeah, hello everybody. I'm glad to see that amount of people. I'm glad that you're joined, because again, August, it is like summer still, it is a holiday season, so I'm really excited to see all of you here. So today I will lead this webinar about impressive PPT slides with my colleague Maciej. Maciej, you would like to tell a few words as well?
Yeah, hello, it's great to see you. I'm really happy to be here with you. My name is Maciej Kałuża. I'm a presentation designer. And before becoming presentation designer, I was also an academic teacher using a lot of PowerPoint in my life. So it's a great experience for me to be with you here.
All right, thank you. Then let's start. And let me introduce our agenda first. So we will talk about impact of the good-looking slides and value added. The second block will be about what improves usability of slides. Then we will share with you a few examples of our team's work. And after that, Machi will take the floor and will lead the workshop about designing slides live. And in the end, we will have Q&A session where you will be able to ask any question. Also, you can collect your questions by posting them in the Q&A or in the chat again here in our meeting. And we will come back to them during Q&A session. Okay, so impact of the good-looking slides and value added. Let's start from 3 basic questions. Why does business need PowerPoint presentations? So PowerPoint allows presenters to translate complex ideas into easily digestible visuals. Usually, a presentation is used to support a speech. It improves the audience's focus. With all variety of events and online meetings in our days, keeping audience focus is even more of a challenge. So having a well-designed, good PowerPoint presentation will help the presenter stay in command of audience's attention. And what can we do to simplify and speed up the presentation creation? So let me start with a example. I guess this situation which we all can recall. You have to create a presentation and it's time to start the slide deck. So you start by opening the application, making a title slide, putting some bullet points or some cute picture. Then you give yourself kudos for getting that far and go get some coffee. So the easiest way will be to build your very own corporate PowerPoint template. So templates help with consistency. Templates make sure that presentations are consistent in terms of font, style, layout, and colors. Also, it saves time, a lot, in fact, because slides are pre-designed already. Also, it is easy formatting. Basically, with the template, formatting the slides becomes a breeze. And the final thing is branding. When it comes to branding, PowerPoint template rank up there along with your website, logo, or letterhead. And that leads us to actually the next question. How can it influence the brand? Good branding can give your business a voice and recognizable identity. Branding your presentation will make it stand out. It's more memorable to audience members, which could lead to increased sales and brand recognition. So here, let me share some statistics regarding the impact of inconsistent brand usage. And accordingly to the poll of 2016, the average revenue increase for using brand consistency in 23%. And let me tell you what we do to help to achieve actually this effect. So in DeepMind, our presentation design team develops templates of PowerPoint presentation, Word, and even Excel. We create user guides to help people follow brand rules in the future usage of templates. We design color codes, revamp old presentations according to the newest design trends. We change slides into stories using storytelling and animations. And our work impacts on rates of sales. So what is important to remember during the presentation creation? Let me start with some theory. And according to Alan Pavio theory, we retain images better than words because they're coded twice in our memory. Pavio explains that our memories take in information using two different codes, verbal and image code. In short, we remember images better than text. If information is presented by text only, you will remember 10%. If you combine this information with image, the figure will go up to approximately 65.
Yeah, just to drop in an anecdotal thing, as a lecturer, I didn't believe it at first, but when I started doing more PowerPoint presentations for my lectures and for my exercises with images, with more visualizations, and it really worked. People were remembering more. The tests outcomes were much better because it was much easier for them to visualize the data based on my presentations.
Always workable method. Thank you, Maciej. Okay, and now let me also maybe show you the example and you might feel it on your own skin. So here's the data, which represented just by text. But most probably, in case I will show you the same data, but with this example, you will remember it better because on this slide, the information is coded twice in our memory, thanks to not only the information, but visuals, such as picture on the background, color, size of the text. So the design in our days is more focused on accessibility. So we have to make sure that the user will see the information clearly on any device. And here is also an example of the importance of properly choosing a font size. So if you use too small fonts, it might cause you the audience's attention. So always check the size of the text and probably where that presentation might be shown. Oops, sorry, too fast. And so don't put everything what you want to say on the slide. You can add text in notes, create a script for yourself, basically a script of all you want to say. But showing everything makes it harder for people to focus. In the end, people switching from hearing to reading, and they might get distracted. And they won't actually get even the main point of the slide. So what we recommend to do is to decrease the amount of text on the slide and showing like the main idea, which can take like 1 or 2 sentences, but the rest you like, as a presenter or just a presenter will tell the people out loud. This will help to understand the main purpose of the slide, basically, the idea of what you want to tell to people. And if you really can't cooperate with too much content on the slide, you can try to apply 6-to-6 method, which allows you to show 6 notes from your speech. And here's an example. This highlighted paragraph includes the main idea, basically what you want to tell to people. So you can turn, so we will turn basically this highlighted text into 6 notes. And again, the rest will be presented out loud by the presenter. And this is how the previous slide can look like in a better way. And finally, we are moving to the last, let's say, topic of my theoretical block, the storytelling. So what is storytelling in PowerPoint, actually? The purpose of your presentation usually is to convince the audience and lead them to the conclusion. And the best way to hold your audience's attention is to tell a story. It's not that surprising, actually. Storytelling is as old as humanity, I guess. So you see a story form in books, plays, films, advertising, and I believe everything else, much more. So stories have a unique and powerful ability to absorb attention. So imagine that you have to remember the information from these cubes. And several days later, you will probably struggle to remember all the images. But if you combine them with a story, it has much better chances to be remembered. So let me try to check your memory, and maybe in a few days you can check by yourself. So one day the brave knight saw a towel, and when he came nearer, the dragon appeared. He defeated the dragon and fell in love with the princess who was trapped there. So they fell in love and lived happily together. This is like a simple example how you can connect, maybe train your memory, and not only your memory, but it will also turn on the memory of people who will actually see your presentation. So stories work better than isolated information. Write the story of your presentation the way you write an essay. There should be the beginning, middle, and the end. Different industries will have different ways of crafting stories, of course, but common for everyone, it's always good to know your audience. Okay, and now I will show you a few examples of our team's work. And this is the example of infographic made in our own advanced PowerPoint template. So the next example will be an advertisement actually of our services. As you can see, it is also seems more engaging by using pictograms, for example, like not only colors. And this is just like a highlighting slide. Again, when you want to highlight some main idea, and the rest, basically, the presenter will discuss and present out loud. This kind of slide is also pretty useful, and it also was done in our advanced PowerPoint template. And now I will show you just also a few slides which were made for our clients. So these were made for ABB, these for Acceleron, and for Shell.
You can really see that the amount of content on the slides is significantly smaller than just like whole blocks of texts here.
Yeah,
makes them more engaging to the audience.
Okay, and at this point, I will give the floor to Maciej. Actually, he will show you the live creation of slides.
All right, just let me share my screen, and I will start from the very place where Nika finished, which is our workshop. I hope you see my screen quite well now.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yes, we do. Just wanted to remind everybody, thank you, Veronica, and welcome, Maciej. Just wanted to remind, I think that we had a small problem with the chat in the beginning, but now the chat seems to be working fine. So if you have any questions, please use the chat or Q&A box. Thanks, and Maciej.
Right. And a short note from me, if I go out of focus for a while, it's not a Woody Allen movie, it's just my camera behaving funny today. And let's now do something practical, and let's imagine a situation that I'm actually working with slides for Veronica, my project manager. And we will be using our Redmine template. So in order to understand what the template is, let's just go to home of the PowerPoint program and see the layout. So once I start doing a presentation in a template, I have predefined layouts for a variety of things that I would want to present. So in the workshop, I will try to show you how I will adjust the content, which is needed by Veronica, to create some more engaging slides done properly and on brand with the rules of our Edmind branding. So as you can see, all our templates are pre-designed. We have embedded fonts, we have theme colors added to them. We have also typographical rules adjusted for the best performance of the presentation. We also create icons, which can be handy in highlighting some elements and pointing out some elements, or just memorizing some elements of the content of the presentation. And in our case, because we have two backgrounds, these icons, these pictograms are designed in two different ways. So I'll be using that, as you can see here, colors, embedded fonts, and some parts of the typography in order to change some slides into something slightly or even more engaging. So let's start with this very, very simple slide. Nika has a meeting, project timeline meeting, where she will show what will happen when during a project. And she sent me something like this. Okay, it's good. It's with our brand colors, but let's try to squeeze out a little bit of the presentation. So the first thing, after talking to Nika, of course, I would do here will be maybe to move a lot of content here to the notes section. So Nika will see it, but it will not be visible to the audience. So this will be probably the first thing I'll try to do in order to have more space. And the second thing I would like to do here is to find a layout that will actually correspond to what we have. We have some columns and we have some consequence between them. So probably we could arrange all the information here into a timeline. I don't think we need this box because it covers a lot of the slide, and I just want you to see how we will be doing that. So probably I will just start with the title. I'm just copying the title and I'm pasting the title here, and it's already embedded in the font of the presentation template. That's one step behind. Now what I want to do is I will take this content and put it into one of the content boxes. Still good, but I think too much information is here. I still have these bullets here. So maybe let's move August here, adjust it to the beginning, and we know that this thing will start in August. The font is slightly too small for me. I think I can make it bigger. And the kickoff is the name of the whole process. So I'll make it more visible and add some bullet points to the rest of this. As you see, it didn't take me a long time. I had already a pre-designed text box where I just put the content. And now what I have to do here is actually paste, cut out, paste, stretch a little bit. Oh, there's a hidden enter here. And make everything bigger and highlight Acumin Pro Black bold and make them all bullets. All right, 2 more to go. This should be quite easy. Once you start doing it, it will be even faster. What I'm doing is just copy pasting elements from the original content into our layout to have it designed properly. As you can see, everything adjusts accordingly to the settings of the text boxes here. Okay, we have just one final element, which is November. So I'm again putting this here, making font bigger so that it may be better visible to the audience, taking November here and removing the enter and aligning it to the beginning of the line. Finalization will be bolded, and the elements here, I don't need these dots here also, so let's remove them. All right, that's almost done. I still missed something. So beforehand, I looked at the pictograms we had. I chose 4 pictograms that I can actually use in my presentation. So I'm just copying them on the back of my slide and aligning them to the columns. So there is this arrange, align, and align to the left. Ta-da! I have a pictogram at the end of this, at the beginning of this process. Now I'm aligning another one here, slightly too low. Let's move it a little bit up. Now, using the lines which appear, I'm aligning this. If I'm not sure, I can align these two to the top, and they are in the identical position because the amount of text in these text boxes is the same, so I know that they should be on the same position. So this is actually congruent with the content because it's about feedback and people are talking. This is about template design. And for the finalization, I chose a nice sunset. Something is finishing. Yeah, and it looks like that. Just to make sure that I didn't forget everything, I check again and I see that there was something about who is going to be present on the meetings. And I have actually pre-designed something here, which I will just put on the slide. It's a short kind of legend, which shows that blue is for PM, orange is for delivery team, and black is for both teams to meet together. The final thing I'm going to do is just to see the slide. What do you think, Nika? Does it look better?
Yeah, adorable.
Yeah, so it's branded. It's done accordingly to our brand guidelines. It uses our pictograms. And the key effect is consistency, because whenever we will need to do another timeline or many timelines in one presentation, and we want them to appear using this effect, I can come back to this layout. Of course, the situation is not always ideal, and sometimes we will have less information to show, but then all you have to do is to select all the elements and just move them so that they occupy proper amount of space of the whole slide area. Like that, for example. All right, so we have made a timeline. We have moved a lot of text outside. It's more visual, it's less textual. So we are good to go to do something more. And in our times, presentation designers have to work a lot with communicating something new. For example, there's a launch of our new website. We actually have a website about our services, presentation design services. So Nika might ask me to add a slide about this. But the print screens, mobile print screen and the screen print screen, like a large screen print screen, don't look very good on white. Maybe instead of changing colors and adding some outlines, I will just use our mockups, which we have already embedded in our file for the presentations of Edmind. So I'll just copy this one and try to align them both together. So I'm arranging them to the center and just moving it so that it actually shows the screen. Yeah, will do. It's easy because our background there is white. And I'll take one more, which is a phone, and just arrange, align to the center, arrange, align to the middle. Ta-da! I think I have a website on my mobile phone here. It looks nicer, I think. Maybe let's move them slightly to the other side so that they don't go out of the content area. And I have also made a small pictogram with a more engaging note saying, click me. So I'm just taking this text, taking the link, which was here, cutting it out, Control X. I'm sure this is not our color, just a second. All right. And I'm just doing Control K, putting the link to this text and see what happens. Oh, nothing happens. Let's do it again. Control K, I'm gluing it here. And now the link turned into the color, and it's also pre-designed in the template that all the links in the presentation will be underlined in turquoise color. This text is slightly too small for my eyes, I think, because we really want to show off the new cool website. So I can just make it bigger, and slightly below, I will just put this call to action and see the result. As you can see, with having pre-designed layouts and having some mockups embedded in our presentations, we can achieve very fast results, which actually look cool, even without very, very big experience in designing. It's just aligning things together so that the outcome looks more engaging to the audience. And it's perfectly obvious for everybody who sees that we have a new website and that we can click and go to the website from this place. What do you think, Nika?
Yeah, I really want to enter it, and Wojciech also sent the link for our website. So
yeah. Okay. If we also need a tablet, we can use a tablet. Of course, they are adjustable. So if you need something larger or smaller, or if you think that the size of a mobile phone is too small or too big, you can always resize them and the whole inside will be empty. Now let's do something that is like a common bread for PPT designers. We get a lot of tables and we get a lot of charts. And to be honest, this chart looks rather dull. It doesn't have any color, and it's difficult to make out how many projects are actually completed. So if I got this from Nika and she asked me, well, make it more engaging, make it more colorful, for example, again, I would start to think how I would like to present the message. But before, I will go to our Admind user guide and I will see this nice pre-designed slide with pie charts. And I'm actually a very big fan of pie charts. So maybe I'll come back and think, well, I need to do a pie chart here. I'm sorry. All right, so let's start doing it. I will actually recreate this slide here. Of course, the first thing I should do before I start entering any data is to check whether this data is actually correct, which means that I should actually go to chart design and edit data to see if the numbers correspond to the numbers that Nika wanted to be embedded here. And if this is okay, I'm good to go to do something more. And for example, change the slide with the chart design to a pie chart. It's embedded. It's nothing magical. It's a simple PowerPoint thing to do. It's kind of too fat for me. So maybe I'll try to change. Sorry, I don't see my windows here because of the screens. So let's make it slightly slimmer. Let's say 80 will be fine. All right. And I think we need something here more. Let's make the legend up in our pre-designed slides, make it all slightly bigger and move this down a little bit. All right, slightly better, but still something is missing. So I click on this element and I go to our colors. And in our colors, I use theme colors, which are pre-designed selected colors for our PPT design template. And I make it more colorful. This one I will do orange. It's tangerine tango, actually. This one will be turquoise. And this one may be one of the selected grays because they are still pending. We don't know whether they will happen or not. I don't need this. I actually don't need the title here, so I can delete it. And now I will just duplicate this and see what I will do. I take just this information here. I make it smaller. Maybe like that. And I put it inside the pie chart so that now everybody knows that the whole is 347 PPT projects. And the legend says what is going on with them. The legend is kind of too small. Let's make it slightly bigger. And now the only data I miss on this thing is data labels, which will actually show the numbers next to the colored sections. I'm not really certain that we need these lines, so I can delete them and just make these bigger like the legend. And now we have something more here. Probably this is something that Nika will talk about, and it's quite small and quite dense. So let's try to put it here if Nika agrees that she will actually read the information from the notes. And we have a clearly visual element on the slide. Now we can play a little bit with typography and maybe make this 222 PPT projects slightly bigger, maybe even that big. We can try with bold, maybe we can try with gray, and just put it somewhere here, maybe in the middle or just here, so that everybody knows what this presentation slide is all about. Do you think this is engaging enough? Nika?
I guess yes.
Uh,
Or maybe we can think about something else.
Yeah, maybe we can think of something else. Fortunately, I predicted that you will not be very satisfied with just putting all slices in color. So I will just show you very quickly how we can also animate elements like that. So instead of having this, just this, I pre-designed earlier a slide, which is basically the same. But when Nika will present it, something more engaging will occur with the content. So she says something and she clicks. And then she says we have 35 pending projects. We have completed 255 projects. And we have done 57 projects. And the way I design these things is that at the end of the animation, all the necessary information are visible. They don't disappear anywhere else, but whoever sees just the final outcome of the animation gets all the information that is actually needed here. Now, the question is, how did I do that? And probably some of you who are not very experienced in PowerPoint might think, well, this is very difficult. It's not. All you need to do is take a rectangle and measure the amount of space occupied by the chart. Once I have this amount of space occupied by the chart, I just duplicate it 3 times in several places so that I know where the animations should go, like more or less. I can actually make them aligned properly to the center. No, to the top, sorry. All right, so they're basically in the middle. There's some text beneath them. And how did I do the thing with these things moving from one place to another? Well, it's very simple. It's actually 3 charts, one on another. And every chart, as you can see, has the remaining parts, but they are invisible because I made 100% of transparency instead of coloring them. So what I actually did was I took all these elements from these 3 and I just aligned them together. Align everything to the left, click here, align everything to the left. So I have 3 charts with invisible elements where I didn't need them combined together. So visually they look like one chart. And after doing that, in the animation window, which opens here, I just clicked on one chart and I said, I want you to create a line. And I want this line to move where? Well, into the position of the boxes I have created before. So that now every single part of these charts goes to the selected places. And then I just added fading on the text that was already here. So it's quite simple, actually. Everything you have to do is to think what you want to achieve, and you don't really need like a special inside PPT design knowledge in order to make something much more engaging. And finally, if we have still some time, I will return to one of the subjects that Nika was talking about during the presentation, which is a lot of content. So imagine a situation where you really have to put everything on the slide. It doesn't really look readable. People will struggle, and the people from the back side of this room will start getting crowded in the front of the place to read actually what is here. So let's try to organize this somehow. And again, our template layout might come in handy here, because what I can do here is I can search for a layout that will actually help me organize content. And I think what can organize me the content properly is simply called 4 columns. Maybe I will not need this one. I just want you to see how to break up a large amount of text. I have also a note from Nika here. This is very important, so I'll keep that in mind. And I'll just start copying this content. Oh, it's a designer trick. I will not start with this first content. You know why? Because the first thing I'm going to do is actually copy number 3, because it has the most content of all 4 paragraphs. So instead of starting with the slimmest one and getting funny and happy that I did it, I take the thickest one, the one loaded with the most amount of text, and I put it here in number 3 in order to see how big the letters can be. 14, not really. 12 can do. And as you can see, I chose the biggest amount of content to be put into this column so that I can see what will be the maximum font size I can use with such an amount of content. It's good. Let's highlight the beginning of this thing, of this paragraph. I really don't need these letters now, because everybody will just visually see. We read in Europe from left to right. So whatever is here will be read in the 3rd line. And now I'm just transferring text and making it bigger. I had 12 points here, so I will do 12 points here and make this, we don't use bold, we just change the font for a thicker one here. All right. This information is important. Probably the thing that is written here should be more visible. So not only will I change the whole size of fonts to 12 here, not only will I make it bolder, but I will also apply our color for highlights, which is orange here. So now you can see that it attracts attention, especially if you see it in the vicinity of 3 black columns. And finally, the 4th column, again, some important message at the start, like a headline of this paragraph, 12 font, and it's almost done. What else could we add here? Of course, we can add the title. The title of the slide is I really need a lot of text to show. And maybe we can slightly redesign the whole idea. Let's see how small the text boxes can actually be, something like this. Move them slightly to the bottom, and maybe we can also add some pictograms from our collection. So again, I have chosen several pictograms from our collection, and I'm just aligning them to the beginning of the content area here, and here, and here, and let's make it slightly, and here. This doesn't look good, so I'm selecting all pictograms and aligning them to the top. Okay, let's see the final outcome. We had this, not very engaging. Now we have this. So it's
engaging
clear.
and clearer. Yeah,
It's much clearer, and it's very simple. I just used the layout from our pre-designed template in order to do it. I just had to think a while how I would distribute the content, and it's already done. So thank you very much for this short presentation. I'm sure you have a lot of questions regarding PPT design, how it works, how we cooperate. But before you just start asking questions to me and Nika, which we will gladly reply, let me remind you that we have a website that is available in the chat, and we have our PowerPoint at admindagency.com presentation design team email. So if you have any questions regarding templates, revamping your wonderful slides to something even more engaging and cool, creating stories behind the presentations, be sure to contact us and we'll do our best to help you. Thank you very much for patience and for watching my workshop, and let's go to the Q&A session. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Maciej. Thank you, Veronica, again. I haven't seen any questions yet in the Q&A box or in the chat, but if you want to ask something now, please go ahead. And I'm sure both Maciej and Veronica will be very happy to answer.
Also, maybe you have some,
yeah,
maybe
please.
you have. Dobrze, continue.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to also give an opportunity, not just ask theoretical questions, but also maybe you have in mind some particular example or something which you're struggling with during your presentation creation. So we can do it right here on the spot, kind of all together. It's also an option for a Q&A session.
Yeah, and I just wanted to add that that apart from the webinars, which, as I said in the beginning, are started in the middle of the pandemic, we are now back with our meetings live in the Krakow office. So if you happen to be in Krakow or stay in Krakow, there will be some information in our social media about the next meeting, and of course about the next webinar. And I see something in the Q&A session.
Yeah, we have one question. What is something you wish you knew before you started making presentations? This is a very, very good question. And I probably both Nika and I will agree that we usually start with a meeting with a client to understand what he needs, what are his aims, what are his goals. And so we try to gather together some data and some feedback from the client. So whenever we get some text content for the slides, we make a meeting. The designer and the PM are both on the meeting, and we try to talk through all the elements that need clarification.
Also, it is important to know where this presentation will be used, like how, again, engaging, like visually appealing it's supposed to be. Should it include like many pictures and just some notes of text, or there should be some graphics and some more, like, let's say, boring data, but it's still kind of important because it depends also on the structure of slides.
I saw for a short moment a question about storytelling in corporate industry, and it's also a very interesting question. I think it was about how to create a story behind a corporate presentation. And to be honest, I've seen a lot of them coming to us to redesign or to enhance. And basically, there's a story behind any company. So these stories may just reach back to the beginning. We were very small, and then we started building this huge factory, and now we are producing this and this and this, and we are going in this direction and that direction. And in conclusion, we just wanted to say you today that we are on this market and in this area and that area, and that we are expanding. So it's also a kind of a story. It's not just we do this, we do this, we do this separated, but it's combined. For example, by the history of the company to a story from the beginning to the modern days, and probably somehow to the future also.
Thank you, Maciej. Do we have any more questions? Let's wait for for one more minute. Maybe have someone shy who would like to ask. And in the meantime, while we wait for that potential question, let me also encourage you to follow our social media. Information about the next webinar, 25th webinar, and as I mentioned before, the Design Live meeting. And thank you very much for today, Maciej and Kałuża. It was very interesting. I really loved both parts. I hope the audience also enjoyed what you had to say. There will be a recording from this webinar. We'll add subtitles and upload it to our YouTube channel, and definitely put up information in the social media. I don't see any more questions, so last chance if you have any more. Yes, there is something. We do.
Yeah, in the Q&A.
What aspects of presentations do you think are the most important?
That's a good question. What aspects of a presentation? Well, there is always something that you want to emphasize and highlight. So I think a really big focus should be made on the conclusion slides, also on the call to action slides. It works similarly to a website. You want the person to get in touch with you, to interact with your company somehow. So offering good navigation and the possibility to go somewhere where you can actually contact the sales team is a good to go thing. And a lot of focus should be placed on the concluding slides, the contact slides, the area slides with different emails where you can put people with addresses, mobile phones, and emails who they can contact in which area, etc., etc. So we always try to make them more engaging and good looking, because this is actually what the client probably will be looking for after the presentation.
Thanks a lot, Maciej. I don't see any more questions. So once again, guys, thank you. And thank you to everybody who attended. And yes, follow us for more information and visit the website I linked in the chat box. Thank you so much. And of course, have a nice evening.
Yeah, thank you guys for coming.
Thank you, Veronica. And thank you, Wawrzek, for everything for today. See you later.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.